Hi there people, how's it going? Well, today is Tuesday in New Zealand and we've got a real problem here in New Zealand. I know, I've made a video for a while and I keep abreast of the news in obviously New Zealand because that's where I am, have been for the last 23 years. And I also keep abreast of what's happening in the UK and the United States. UK is pretty screwed as well with this piece of you-know-what as Prime Minister. I think he'll be removed soon enough. But New Zealand, we're in a very, very precarious place. And it seems democracy has been undermined in New Zealand. We've got a empty vessel as Prime Minister, Chris Luxon, completely empty. He believes in absolutely nothing, and he will do anything to appease the radical extremists of the Maori party and Maori elites in New Zealand. And the media, or the legacy media, the mainstream media, if you like, whatever you want to call them, the media, mainstream media, 100% behind everything radical extremist Maori elites want in New Zealand. And what they want in New Zealand is everything. Yesterday in Christchurch High Court, Ngāi Tahu, which is the South Island's biggest tribe, are basically taking the government to court, or the Attorney General if you like, either. Read between the lines because this is what they're doing. They are going for governorship or chieftainship. In other words, these are just sappy words or euphemisms if you like for ownership of all fresh water in the South Island of New Zealand. Ownership of all the fresh water. They argue that they've always owned it forever. Before the British came here, for thousands of years. Bear in mind, Maori in New Zealand only came here in the 13th century. 13th century, 1200s. That's in their own history. But now they've been allowed to rewrite history by successive governments, Labour and National, which is a uni party now. They're exactly the same, doesn't matter who you vote for. They've been allowed to rewrite history. And whatever these Maori radical extremists and racists and liars, and they are liars, whatever they say is gospel, because basically they're allegedly indigenous, which they're not, because they've only been here since the 13th century. There were indigenous peoples here before, but they were massacred and genocided. That is a fact. But to say this uncomfortable truth is white supremacy and racist. That's New Zealand for you. As many of you know, I've paid a very heavy price, a few years back for saying much the same things as what I'm saying now. Lost everything, lost my job, marriage, everything, all gone. Because, yeah, I'm saying more or less the same words as what I'm saying now, but it is the truth. I've been watching these committees on YouTube and on the Treaty Principles Bill, which is being put forward by David Seymour and the ACT Party. David Seymour, many of you will remember my confrontation with him in Ashburton a few years back. That was because over the same thing. I told David Seymour to tell the people about Hei Puapua, which is what's happening now. And he wouldn't, and that's why we fell out, and it became very public. David Seymour confronted by a white supremacist. Same old story. But now David Seymour is saying exactly what I said then. Anyway. So, these radical extremists of, say, Pati Maori, the Maori Party in English, and these iwi leaders and these university, so-called university academics, they are going for complete ownership of New Zealand. They want to do away with democracy because they've got a fingernail bit of Maori in them. They claim they're Maori, and they should have complete ownership of everything. All this land here, all this land here, every single inch of it. Every inch, every tree, the air you breathe, the water you drink, the seas you fish in, the seas you sail on. Everything, the mountains you walk on. They believe they should have absolute ownership of it, and they should be in power, and they should be the ultimate leaders of this country, who are not even voted for. And the media are on their side, because everything Maori say is gospel and it's true. And if you're white, well, it's not true. You're just a liar. And most of these journalists in New Zealand, even anchors, I mean, right across the mainstream media, are in favour of all things Maori. I just can't understand it. Why? Why would they do this? It's like they're all indoctrinated. We know that. They're all woke, super woke. And it's like they hate themselves. They're all self-loathing sycophants of all things Maori. They love all things Maori, Maori worldview. There is no Maori left anymore. That's the truth. None. All Maori, every single one, without all Maori in New Zealand are mostly European. White, British, Irish, or Dutch, or whatever. Every single one of them is mostly white. This is not white supremacist. This is just a fact. You see them in Parliament. These parliamentarians, these Maori parliamentarians, they're mostly white. And they claim that they've suffered racism, they've suffered hardship, they've suffered not being benefited by the system because they're Maori. But the opposite is true. I've been here for 23 years, okay, it's not that long. But since I've been here, what I've seen is that Maori benefit from everything, and the opposite of what they say is true. They say they're not even represented in Parliament. But Parliament's full of Maori. Every single time Parliament sits, even in the public gallery, Te Pati Maori, the Maori Party, have all their activists all around the public gallery, where they can shout and scream at people like David Seymour and the weak as piss empty vessel Chris Luxon, the Prime Minister, who is I don't know if you can get more of an empty vessel than Keir Starmer, but Chris Luxon really is. We are led by donkeys in New Zealand, absolute donkeys. Chris Luxon, he wants to scuttle the treaty principles bill that David Seymour, with a lot of courage, has put forward. David Seymour knows, because he knows it's going to be scuttled by Chris Luxon, the Prime Minister. So Chris Luxon said it. He said, "Oh, don't worry about it, don't worry about it," he says. "I'm going to scuttle it anyway." Words to that effect. These people are going to destroy this country. Willie Jackson. I'm going to say the names. Willie Robert Mugabe Jackson. Rawiri Half Wheaty Waititi. I'm joking a little bit, but there's a lot of truth in what I'm saying. Debbie Packer. What's her name? Maravino Kappa Kingi, whatever her name is. She looks like a man. You can't even tell what she is. I don't even know. But these people are radical, extremist, racists. They are racist against all things non-Maori. And yet, they pull a race card out all the time and call everybody else racist. All the time. I wasn't going to make this video because it's very, very dicey to make this video. And I might get a knock on the door by the police, the state. Chris Luxon himself, the weak as piss, empty vessel. Piece of you-know-what. Could order the police to come and pay me a visit, take me away. But the Maori elites, they are worth billions. They could order the police to do a job on me. And they can certainly order, because they've got the money in the billions of taxpayers' dollars, billions and billions, that's been handed to them and still gets handed to them over the years, and will get handed more and more, including fresh water. They have great power, and they could have the power to destroy anybody, especially individuals like me, one or two others, who actually say it the way it should be said. These people we see in Parliament, the Green Party as well, because the Green Party is dominated by Maori. So Party Maori, the Maori Party, is Maori, which is a racist party. Imagine having a white party. Imagine having the white European party. Would that work? No, that's racist. But you can have a Maori party. Imagine if I said our people all the time. Our people. Our people meaning white, European, Anglo-Saxon, Celtic. Imagine if I said that. That's racist. But they say I'm privileged. And they say it all the time. And I'm really half wheaty, white-eaty. Debbie Packer. Kappa Kingy. Willie. Mugabe. Jackson. Every time. Everyone's racist. And that's all they've got. That's all they can say all the time. Oh, you're just racist, eh? And break out into a haka in Parliament. And you see these people, and it just makes you wonder how standards have dropped. And but dare I say it, and I'm going to say it anyway, because no one else is saying it. These people we see in Parliament, they're covered in tattoos. They're covered in tattoos. Women, covered in tattoos up and down their arms, on their necks. Paid, what, 200 grand a year? How did they get in Parliament? All they do is call everyone racist all the time. That's all they do. And they're paid vast fortunes. And all they are doing is trying to do a job on this country where they want to put their leaders, Maori leaders, with hardly any Maori, that much, a fingernail, a Maori in them, in a position of extreme power, tyranny, unvoted, undemocratic, put them in power. Or at the very least, have veto over a democratically elected government. They want to have veto over everything they do. But more to the point, they want to own every single square inch of this country. They want to own the water, the mountains, the air you breathe, everything. And the way we're going, they're going to get it. They're going to get it all. There's a bloke called Jeff Neal. Look him up, Jeff Neal. Jeff, Geoff, I think it is. Neal. And he's made submissions to this Treaty Principles Bill. And he's making great points. Do you know 38% of this country, 38%, that's over a third of New Zealand, are too afraid to even talk about radical extremist Maori in New Zealand. They're too afraid. So people in New Zealand live in fear of talking about a very, very important issue. And that is the greatest gift to these radical extremists in Parliament and at the very top of elite Maori. It's a real problem. Because, and I'll go back to myself just a few years ago, when I made a satire video of Rawiri Half Wheaty Waititi. I was very publicly fired from my job because they went to the company I work for, Sinlay, a milk company, and threatened them. If you don't sack him, me, we will destroy your company, basically. So they sacked me. That's how much power they got. And people seen that. People seen what they can do. And I guarantee you now that up and down this land in New Zealand, that people that look like me are terrified of broaching the subject of the Treaty Principles Bill, the Waitangi Treaty, or the TVT or Waitangi, where everyone was going to be equal. We are all one people now. That's what it guaranteed. That Maori were offered the same rights and privileges as the British people. That's what it was. But no. Maori say now. No, they said something different. It was a partnership, but it wasn't. That's the greatest lie. And weak as piss Prime Minister, Chris Luxon, the empty vessel. Whatever Willie Jackson says or Rawiri Half Wheaty Waititi, Debbie Packer, he'll agree with him. Because he's as weak as piss and he doesn't want to be called a racist. New Zealanders, honestly, start discussing it. Start making noises. And don't be afraid. In your workplace, in your home, with your wives and children, with your friends. Start talking about it. Otherwise you're going to lose your country. Because these people will come for your land. They will come for your wealth. It'll be like Zimbabwe. It won't be like South Africa. It'll be like Zimbabwe, where Robert Mugabe confiscated land. Willie Jackson will be in a driving seat. He will confiscate every inch of land that you own. And the richer you are, the harder you're going to fall. And where are you going to run to? UK? Yeah, that's a good idea. America? Hey, not such a bad idea with Trump in power, is it? But he's only in for another 4 years. Just shy of. Anyway, I think I've said what I need to say. My advice is look up Geoff Neal. Geoff, I think it is. Might be one F. Regardless. And look up the platform, Sean Plunkett, what he's been saying. And especially today, because he had a crack at Chris Luxon. My God, Chris Luxon. How did we get here? Chris Luxon, for fuck's sake. Weak as piss. And Nayatahu going for ownership of fresh water of the whole of the South Island. It's fucking unbelievable. There, I swore. And the media support it. Where are they going to run to? One day the penny's going to drop with them too. The media. Especially if they're non-Maori. They've all got mums and dads. They've all got brothers and sisters, these journalists and anchors. If they own any property. And Willie Jackson and Rawiri Half Wheaty Waititi and their mob come round to confiscate their land. How are they going to feel then? This is where we live in. We live in the world of stupidity. And New Zealand, at the minute, well, probably second only to the UK. But we've got to grow some Kiwis. We really have got to grow some. because none of these political parties are doing a job, with the exception of David Seymour. And I apologise to David Seymour for what happened a few years ago in Ashburton. Sorry for that, David, but you know, I believe I was right then, and you're right now. Okay. I think I've said enough. This is Cross the Rubicon. Please like, leave a comment. Subscribe to my channel, and now and again you might get a video. But you just might see me get arrested now. So be it. Okay, see you later.